Today we'll be discussing how to build a resume for the event planning industry. The biggest thing to understand with your resume in any industry is how it gets viewed during the hiring process. So you want to make your resume specific to the job and the company that you're applying for. The first person to view your resume is usually a gatekeeper. This person may not even understand the job that you're getting hired for. They're scanning your resume to see if it hits key objectives that the hiring manager is looking for. Your resume is going to be one of many, so you want to take the job posting and ensure that you're including the same skills and experience from the job posting, even sometimes using their own words. Again, the gatekeeper may not know the job that you're actually applying for. They're looking for specific wording to make sure that you're the right fit. So using some of their words from the job posting is going to help you with this. The hiring manager is going to scan and double check that you meet the objectives, get a bit of a sense of how you fit with the team. But again, your resume is one of many here. So you want to have an eye-catching, brief sentence that gets them excited to meet you. At the interview itself, they're actually going to be paying attention to your resume. So you want to format it in a way that guides them through getting to know you on your terms. You can set up your resume in a way that makes them ask you questions that you want to answer to be able to tell them more about you and your specific skills. So let's see how we do this. We're going to look through one of our members' resumes and see if we can suggest some improvements. So number one, the file name. You can see the file name here is just events. We want to be very specific with our file name so that our resume, our cover letter is really easy to find. So you want to save your resume and your cover letter, including your name, what you're applying for, the company, and the year. So for example, my resume file would be West, Julie, event manager, the company name, 2022. Point number two, your name. Not everybody uses their legal name as the name that they go by on a day-to-day basis. So if your name is Patrick, but everybody calls you Pat, you want to use Pat on your resume. Keep in mind that during the interview, the hiring team is being guided by your resume on how to treat you and what to be interested in about you. So save your legal name for the legal forms and the pay forms. Number three, take advantage of the header and the footer. So you want your header and footer to contain the information that needs to be on every single page. So for the header, it should have your name, the role that you're applying for, your logo, and the logo of the company that you're applying to. In the footer, it should be your contact information. So if you have a website, your LinkedIn address, your email address, your home address, and your phone number. That way, if they lose the first page, all the important information is on all of the subsequent pages. Number four, remember that your resume will be printed. So you want to be mindful of how much ink you're using up. You don't want to have a lot of photos or a whole bunch of colors, but also you want to make sure that your colors print well. So you can see this resume here is in light gray. It might not print well, or it might look like their printer ink is faded when they go to print it. So you want to choose your colors wisely and sparingly. My resume is black font, black borders. The only color is my company logo and the logo of the company that I'm applying for. Number five, don't overuse caps locks. People interpret that as yelling. This is something I've been guilty of in the past. I always felt like caps locks made it look like you were saying something important, but instead use bold or italics to make those points. Number six, the first section on most resumes is objectives, but in reality, the hiring manager doesn't really care about your objectives at this point of the game. Yes, they want to know that you want to stay with the company long term, but that will be one of the questions that they ask you during your interview. A better use of this area is to highlight something that you want to stand out. Again, you want to use your resume to guide the process of this interview. So for example, I specialize in sponsor sales for events. Sponsor sales isn't usually something that an event planner gets asked to do. So I want someone who's interviewing me to right away know that I can do sponsor sales and want to learn how great I am at them. So the first section on my resume says, 100% of events that I've produced and managed have made a profit. This immediately gets them excited that I can bring in money for them and they want to know how. Number 7, the next section is usually education, but I personally place this down at the bottom. For the event industry, education isn't always the most important thing. Experience is. They need to know that they can entrust $250,000 or $500,000 in your hands, but more importantly, the entire reputation of their front-facing business. Number 8, the experience section. So this is where you want to give the majority of your attention. You want it to be formatted with the start and end date, the company you worked for, the job title, and the location. Follow that with as many bullet points as you can, explaining each task you were responsible for. Be careful with your tenses. If this is a current job, everything should be present tense. Example, I run a team of 10. I create budgets and reports. If this is past tense, so a job that you no longer work at, you want it to be past tense. Example, I ran a team of 10. I created budgets and reports. These bullet points are a great time to start using the skills and experience from that job posting. So you want to replace some of your sentences with their own wording. It'll make it easier for the gatekeeper to recognize that you're the right fit. I personally even bold some of those key skills that were from the job posting, and this helps it to pop out for that gatekeeper. Number 9, my biggest tip, are numbers. When you're writing out your experience, include as many numbers as you can. For example, my resume used to say, I have over 18 years experience in full-time event planning, project coordination, sales, client relations, customer service, and marketing. Now check out the impact with numbers. Over 18 years, I've managed and produced 200 profitable corporate events in 8 countries and 5 continents. Even if your experience is minimal, think of percentages, dollar amounts. I was in the top 10 percentile of my class. I've volunteered on 15 events. I helped make this sale that brought in an extra $100,000. Think about numbers, include a lot of numbers. Number 10, the biggest question I'm always asked, what words do I use to explain the type of experience that I have in the work industry? So again, start by copying the words from the job posting. Don't use all the words from one job posting. When I'm first building a resume, I'll go grab 10 job postings in the event industry and just pull out sentences, do some Google searching, just verify that your experience aligns with what they're asking for, but they're just asking for it in different words, and then use those bullet points for your resume. Here's a few from mine to give you some ideas. Consulted with committees, prepared semi-annual events and plans including budget forecasting. Booked space, communicated with caterers and site hosts. Solicited and confirmed speakers, prepared speaker agreements as required. So those weren't just off of the top of my head. That was taking what I've done in the past, seeing those sentences in a job posting and going, oh yeah, that's what I did. I just called it something different. So utilizing job postings, even ones you don't intend on applying for, is going to be a big help for you. So that was how to build a resume for the event planning industry. Keep an eye out for our next videos in this module, including tips for your LinkedIn profile, how to make a cover letter, and interview questions to prepare for.